Stable chat tonight, catching up with Nathan Turvey from all the way from Western Australia. Nathan, firstly, thank you very much for joining me, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, Stable Chat is a little thing that I do that comes up on Campbell's Comments, and people can go to campbellscomments.com to be able to see any of those interviews if they like. And it's been proudly brought to me consistently by Kelly Partners of Melbourne, Paul Dobson and Dylan Barry, and you can get in touch with them for all your accounting needs. And I believe Kelly Partners are in Western Australia. They're all over Australia, I believe, and you can get in touch with them with 96296744. They do a great job, and I must say they do a huge job for me. They do a great promotion and help me get Campbell's Comments started, which I'm very, very appreciative. So I have absolutely no worries in catching up with you. You have a little bit of I suppose, a way in, if you like, because Paul Dobson trains horses. You train horses for Paul Dobson, mate?
Yeah, well, I do actually. He's got a share in probably 3 or 4 of them along the way. But yeah, that relationship started obviously with him being my accountant. So yeah, probably was a little bit worried when I was over the other side of the country having my accountant in Melbourne. But yeah, it's been a great partnership so far.
Absolutely, they do an awesome job too. That's huge to know. So that they still look after you all the way over there in Perth, and go from there. You got to be very careful with social media, mate. It can be a dangerous thing. You also train horses for a gentleman called Stephen Hunt, and he is a ripping bloke, Sooty. But geez, he can be dangerous if you do the wrong thing with him on social media. I don't know what he's like for you over that way, but he's another one that is tied up with Dobbo and a few of the crew with in the partnership.
Yeah, to be honest, I've never met Stephen, but he, through Paul, has jumped on board a few of the horses. And, yeah, I'm not very good with social media. Facebook's about it. So I couldn't tell you what he writes or whatnot, or if he bags my drives. But, yeah, as an owner, he seems like a really nice fella.
Sooty's an awesome bloke. You just got to be careful what he does to your face, and that sometimes with some of these pictures, he takes liberties sometimes with a few of the things. I wanted to get to know you a little bit, help promote yourself over there, because there's plenty of people over here in Perth. We don't get a lot of Perth media. We get a bit of Mouse Brennan, the Halls, obviously, and all the rest, but we don't get a lot of you guys from out of the way. Wanted to try and promote you a little bit. You were an AFL footballer. You played for Hawthorn. How many years did you play for Hawthorn for?
I was on their list for 3 years, but yeah, it was a long time ago. So, yeah, it was a good experience at the time.
How many years ago?
Oh, 97, 98, 99. So we're going back a while.
Yep. And you were a good Perth footballer after that?
Yeah, I actually went to Adelaide for a year after being in Melbourne, and then shifted back home. And I only played in the Waffle, the next year, and we made the grand final, and then didn't win it. But yeah, I decided to give up football. So that was that.
What changed everything up and becoming a harness racing trainer? Firstly, were you a trainer firstly and then a driver, or both at the same time?
Yeah, my father. So I grew up with horses, and it was always probably my number one passion. But my family weren't probably very supportive of me doing it at full time, and I'm probably glad I didn't. Like, I went and experienced playing football and things like that, and now that I can't do anything athletic, I can do the horses. So it's probably worked out in a good way.
Through the family and the family background and that.
Yeah. So my dad trained horses in the country, not with any great success, but yeah, I was always with the horses when I was growing up. So yeah, it was always something I wanted to do.
You're making a little bit of media just at the minute. I'll ask you about your stable and the likes going forward, but I just want to ask about a horse called Carter Michael. I noticed the other day it won at its last start. What's the story behind this horse, and actually why was that his last start?
Yeah, look, he was a really good horse for us, and probably going back about 18 months ago, his form tapered off a bit, and I couldn't work out why. Like, there was nothing simple, so I got a blood test done, and the vet said he had a pretty severe kidney problem, and he'd be okay racing through that winter, but probably wouldn't have another campaign after that. So, yeah, just looked after his kidneys a little bit more, and I think he won about another 50,000 in 10 starts. And the first night it got hot, he went terrible, and it took him about 4 or 5 days to get over. So we turned him out for the summer, and we brought him back for this winter. And so bearing with all that in mind, and yeah, he'd probably done a really good job for us and there was a gentleman down Albany Way who was interested in standing him to serve a few of his mares. So I thought that would be a pretty good lifestyle for him. So the fact that he's done a good job for us and goes out, still in good order, I'm content with.
Rahoa do a great job with their promotions, especially on social media, Facebook and the likes, and there was a lot of good photos. And it was, to me, looking at it from afar, it looked like it was a little bit emotional, that win.
I don't get too emotional, but definitely no one else was allowed to shampoo him that night going to the trots. And I enjoyed having. He's a character. Everyone who sees him at the trots recognises him because he probably drives everyone mad. But he's just been a really good character to have, and he's done a really good job for us.
All right, mate. Stable Chats. We try to get behind the scenes, try and find out what people are doing, if you like, and all the rest. How many horses do you work?
Yeah, 17 in work at the moment.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It probably hasn't over the last year. It hadn't been that amount, but we've got quite a few new ones coming through, and 4 of those are thoroughbreds, so 13 standardbreds. Yeah.
We'll get to the thoroughbreds in a second. Family involvement, or is it you just yourself, and then you've got some staff work for you?
Yeah, just me and some staff. Yeah.
Very good. So that's full time anyway. Yeah,
look, definitely. I'll probably going back over the years, I used to drive a lot more than what I do now. But time-wise, I just find it really hard to do everything. So looking after a property, training, thoroughbreds, paces, going to the trots all the time, it just got a little bit difficult.
Yet today you went for a drive to Pinjarra and for no joy either, but you went there for a drive. So you still do dabble in the driving when you can?
Yeah, look, I still enjoy it. I probably went through a stage where I didn't for a little bit, but I was probably a little bit burnt out. But I enjoy it again now. And Pinjarra's only 5 kilometres down the road, so I didn't have to make too much of an effort.
Best win as a driver? What's your best win as a driver, mate?
I think I've had 5 or 6 Group 1 winners, but probably the most satisfying winner was Gary Elson took Sprinter over for the Victorian Derby, and we won a heat on him at Ballarat. So, it probably wasn't a group race, but just the fact that we travelled and went over there, and I probably had self-doubts whether I was good enough to go over and drive him, but Gary backed me in, and we won a heat, so that was really satisfying.
Rewarding feeling afterwards?
Yeah, it was, and he went really good. It was a shame he threw the outside barrier in the final, and he probably didn't feel as good in the final, but it gave us a good week.
Absolutely. Gary's where I think Mark Purden and those stayed when they were over there for the PERF Inter-Dominion, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. He's got a really nice setup. Probably 20 minutes down the road from me.
Down the road from you. A lot of the guys in Perth, I do a little bit with Grant Williams and that over here at the minute, and all have heavy sand tracks. Are you a similar sort of setup as that? You got just heavy sand tracks and the big heavy carts, or have you got more of a refined track?
No, so probably going back how I got involved in horses. My father trained in Narrogin, and Narrogin is 2 hours south but inland, so there's very hard service. And I had a horse when I first started training that I just couldn't get him fit, and I rang up Grant because I'd sort of known him for a long time, and he said, I'll have a go at him, and I took him to, he was training with Lindsay Smith at the time. They shared a property, and I dropped him off at the property, and I was just in awe and amazed at how good that property was, and I thought, geez, I'm wasting my time down here trying to do what I'm doing. So it turned out I went and worked for Grant for 3 or 4 years, and so from that I learned how to train in the sand, and I've stick to it.
I'm actually doing a chat with Granny on Thursday, hopefully. Thursday night it should go to air, just catching up with him again. I've been able to do a couple of things with him. He's a unique character and has different philosophies, but he's done a great job while he's been over here, that's for sure.
Yeah, he has. It's probably take my hat off to him because I think he had to go over quite early, and I think if he had got the horses fit before they went over, he probably would have hit the ground running. But to work it out and still do what he's doing, it probably goes to show what sort of horseman he is.
They must be pretty open over there, a lot of those guys, because you speak to a lot of blokes from Western Australia. You keep going to say Perth, but it's actually Western Australia. But they've all had something to do with either Lindsay, Grant, Justin Warwick. That whole group of people. They probably weren't the most dominant either back then in the trotting days, although they were very strong and powerful. But everyone that seems to come from Western Australia have had some involvement with them. They must be pretty open for staff and that to go there and to be able to learn, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's right. I guess well, I guess if you're a big stable, you've got to have staff, and I guess, staff go there to help and then also to learn. So they probably pick up some of the ideas, and then the rest comes down to your natural ability and your work ethic, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Enough about him. He'll get his moment in the sun later on. Paul Dobson asked me to ask you, will Miracle Moose win a good race, is what he wants to know. So that's one of the questions he wanted to know, mate.
Well, I won't say he will, but he's sort of probably exceeded our expectations in his first preparation, and then he got a quarter crack. So he's probably only a month off racing. But, look, I was quite optimistic he'd do a good job because he can sit off speed and he can run some really good sectionals. But then, the way probably our previous 2 years, our fast was probably short of like Chicago Bull, and that probably missed some of the big races. Whereas, the way him and Shockwave are going at the moment, the answer to Paul's question is probably no.
Just on those two horses, it must be brilliant to be at Gloucester Park. I mean, when I went over there for the Inter Dominion, it was a breathtaking place to watch races anyway, but to watch two horses like that, and they're constantly duelling, it must be... Do you guys get up and about when you know they're going to be racing that night? I suppose, except if you've got a runner in the race.
I think it's going to be good. Obviously, they've only clashed a couple of times of late, but, I think so far Bully's got the measure, but I wouldn't... To me, they're both on par. It's just probably the way the races have worked out the first two times, and they're both going to have... Bully's probably not an exciting career because he's getting towards the end of it, but I think Shockwave will show a lot of people over East he's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the rest of your stable, mate? What's the pin-up of your stable at the minute?
We've probably just... we've never really had a real good horse, just probably bread and butter ones that do good jobs for what we buy them for. Probably Simba Bromac he was a good one probably going back a year or two ago, and he raced on Friday night, but he was in the Shockwave Chicago Bull race, and he's probably not at what he was a year or two ago. But, the rest are probably just horses on their way up through the grades that are doing good jobs.
One you've won a couple with, and it actually has a bearing on Stephen Hunt and Paul Dobson, is White Rabbit. I think it's won 2 in a row, am I right? Or won 2 in a row anyway a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he's only had a handful of starts over here, and I think he'll do a really good job going forward. He's quite a nuggety little horse, and probably I think the best is ahead of him because he's probably not quite 100% fit yet.
It's very good, mate. Evolution of most guys in Perth, you all seem to go to trading gallopers. What's brought this about? Why have we gone into becoming a galloping trainer?
Yeah, to be honest, I would have always said I had no interest in doing it, and then probably got to a stage where I didn't have any new horses or paces coming through, and only had sort of like 6 or 7 in work, and they were all pretty close or were on their mark. So just probably wanted a new challenge or just something to refresh the mind or get a bit of passion back, and ended up going for my thoroughbred license. So that was earlier this year.
And have we had a runner yet?
Yeah, I think I've had about 30 starters. So it was good. I was pretty nervous the first time I went there, but I do enjoy it.
Have you had a winner? Tell me you've had a winner.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. Well, only one, which at the time I thought I was relieved that I had a winner. But, I look back now and I thought, gee, if he didn't win, it would have been a pretty big F next to me, no?
What was the winner? What was his name?
Me and Taz, his name was. I actually got him given to me for nothing. And he's been really consistent. He's only won the one race, but he's been placed probably another 6 or 7 times. So, it'd be nice to win another one with him.
You're going to have to answer this the honest way because Rahoa might watch this. Well, they do. They watch a lot of my stuff because I get to see who watches it and who doesn't. But their setup they have over there, Rahoa, does that make it easy for harness guys and participants to swap over into the gallops? Because there's a lot of years doing it. I saw Michael Grantham the other day. He trained his first runner was a winner, wasn't it? And the likes. But got Fred Kersley's, Justin Warwick and all those guys did it. I forgot his name now. Grant Williams and Lindsay Smith. Everyone seems to have been able to do both very well, and then the better ones seem to migrate completely to the thoroughbreds.
Yeah, I think, obviously, a lot of the guys that are probably top of the gallops now were top of the standardbreds or the trots over here. But, I guess it wouldn't be too dissimilar to over there. There's a lot more money involved in the thoroughbreds. So, I guess all our leading guys have gone that way and done really well at it.
A bit harder.
But I think.
Sorry,
to get involved, I'm pretty sure it was a mandatory 3 months where I had to go to the races and learn the procedures, which I'm glad I did, because the first time I went to the races, at least I had some idea of what I was doing. And and then you have to go in and do an interview and things like that. So
that's what I was going to say.
I think everyone's pretty much the same. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, because it must be a little bit easier, because I know a lot of people in the trots here or the likes. There's so many hoops you got to jump through to become a thoroughbred trainer over here, whereas over there it's maybe because it is all encompassing with Rahoa that it's that little bit easier. But from afar anyway, there seems to be a heap of yous being able to have dual licenses and do it successfully.
Yeah. Look, I can't speak for how they do it over there, but as I said over here, it was pretty sure it was just a 12-week thing. Go to the races, pass the test, and obviously there's a fair bit of paperwork to it, but that was probably the hardest thing for me.
What about you don't mind a party either, do you? We were trying to do one of these about 3 weeks ago or something. I think it was, but you had a weekend at the races, and it took you another week before you contacted me.
Yeah, that's because I don't party very often. I had a group of friends. As everyone knows, with horses you hardly ever get away. So, especially with COVID-19, I was planning on getting away earlier in the year, but obviously then we couldn't. So, I had a few mates heading up to Kalgoorlie for all around. So we went up there for 3 or 4 days, and we all come home crook. So, but anyway, we had a good time.
Absolutely. So what can Victorians look forward to with Nathan Turvey, mate? What do you got for us? You got to give something. You got a winner coming up in the next week or two, someone that they can hang their hat on?
Well, obviously on a Friday night here, barrier draws are pretty important. So it's hard for me to tell you a winner without seeing the fields. But like Jack William, he races pretty consistently every Friday night. He'll be in this week, and he'll give you a run for your money. Or probably Savvy Bromack on Friday night. If she draws half good, I think she could win. And the White Rabbit, we better give him a mention to Dobber.
Absolutely. Just back to the thoroughbreds and the trots. Are you going to keep a dual license, or like are your dreams to go all thoroughbred, or you're not sure which way you want to go just at the minute?
I wanted to do it. Obviously, sometimes the trots don't give you a lot of confidence in the direction that's probably heading. So, while I was having a bit of a lull in the trots, I probably wanted just to see if I enjoyed it or if I was any good at it. And and that way, if things ever go pear-shaped, I could always go down that avenue. So at this stage, my passion is definitely trots. I've worked that out. Probably while I've done it, I'll get more enjoyment going to the trots. But it's a good thing to have on the side and something different to do the thoroughbreds. But they are different, and it's probably like everything. You probably need people behind you to be successful at it as well. Yeah,
that's one of the battles, and I suppose that's one of the things right at the minute with PERF, because it was about 3 years ago you were on this gold mining boom, and then that slowly slowed down, and I'm tipping COVID's probably had a fair effect on a lot of the businesses over there as well, so it probably affects it in a way that some of us may not realise for another 6 months yet.
Yeah, that's right. And, well, I think obviously thoroughbred side, a lot of people when I got involved said they would be happy to get a share in one. I probably didn't want them to because I was still learning the ropes and obviously testing the boundaries of how we work them. So I'd be more confident probably later on down the track to do that. But it was probably going to be easier to get people into a racehorse than a pacer.
Absolutely. But if anyone's over here what's got a pacer, because the majority of Campbell's comments followers, mate, are standardbred guys, don't worry about that. They're looking for someone different to send it over to PERF. You're more than happy to take it on board? Yeah,
that's right. I mean, with the handicapping systems the way they are now, there's definitely horses over here that we send over there because they have better opportunities left over there. And I think vice versa, like horses that are up in the grade, probably in the metropolitan area over there, probably might have more opportunities over here. So, it works both ways.
I reckon the climate must affect a little bit too, because I couldn't get over it. Like it was Christmas time, we were over there in Perth, and the weather's just sensational. I mean, everywhere you go, people say, the weather's beautiful, but it was dead set sensational that year over there in Perth. And I think that must have an effect on possibly a lot of pacers stuck here, especially down here in Victoria and Tasmania, where the weather's pretty much gloomy most of the time, that you get over there and it really must peck them up a bit.
Yeah, it probably does. I noticed, like in summer over here, we run. I mean, obviously your times over there are probably quicker, but they have sort of bigger tracks, whereas we probably run pretty quick times for 800 metre track. But a lot of that's probably contributed to the weather, maybe.
Absolutely. Nathan, thank you very much, mate. As I said, Paul Kelly and Dylan Barry have been great supporters of me, and they get behind a lot of what I do. I'm enjoying doing these sort of things. I want to do some more of them, get out of there and get a few more West Australians, New South Wales people and get them promoted. Should have had a hat on the head, mate. I'm follically tested, and most of the sponsors know I have a hat on and they know what it is. So, yeah, next time I better make sure I put a hat on. I got started and I'm like, man, I haven't got anything on the Chrome Dome.
No, I'm not going too well either, so you weren't out of place.
Mate, you got stuff sticking up in the air. If there's anything sticking up in the air, it's off my eyelashes. Don't you worry about that. Nathan, thank you very much for joining me, mate, on Campbell's Comments. I appreciate your time, and good luck with the future. And we might catch up with you in a couple of weeks or a month or at some stage anyway. Dobbo will keep me up to date with how you're going.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And, yeah, obviously over here I've watched quite a few of your segments and shows and enjoy it. So keep up the good work.
Thanks very much, mate.
Okay.